Hi guys, Steve Carew here, Fulling Mill Technical Manager. I'm here in the beautiful hut at Tescoombe Fishery and I'm going to tie some of Fulling Mill's top patterns using some of our new amazing fly tie material. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys how to tie the Luboš Roza pink tag jig. If anybody doesn't know who Luboš Roza is, he's an absolute fishing machine. I think he's pretty much won everything that there is to win in competition fly fishing, and this is one of his top patterns. In the vise, I've got a size 18 jig false hook, and then the bead is a silver slotted tungsten bead. I think that's a 2.8 in there. So first things first, fix the bead in place, a little touch of super glue. Just try and get the glue in the little crank of the shank and then push the bead right up into that glue and it will fix it in place. So first things first, just attach some tying thread. This is just a fine black tying thread. Just make sure you build a little dam up against the bead there. Okay. Then we take some pink floss. I'm going to use about 4 strands for the tail. So fold it into 2 and then fold it around your thread. So that will give you 4 strands. So make a few turns of thread. And then we need to tie the rib in. So the rib for this fly is just silver wire. Okay, just catch that in, try and hold the floss straight and then run your tying thread down in touching turns. So I tend to tie all of it up at the front of the hook before I've even run the thread down, just because if you're tying fast it just makes it a little bit quicker. So that tag, we don't want it too long. As I've said, this is a Luboš Roza pattern. Luboš likes most of his tags cut nice and short, so I like to use the rear of the hook bend as a bit of a guide, and I'll cut that floss flush with the rear of the hook bend. There we go. Okay, so the body for this material is just Tactical Microflash in black peacock. So it's mostly sort of black colour with like a little sort of peacock sparkly colour to it. It's a really fine dubbing, so if you're tying small patterns like this you can still keep them nice and sparse. Let's just dub that onto the thread. Okay. Right, just run that up. Okay. Now we just rib the fly. Just open turns. And just catch that in. Helicopter your wire off. Okay, so the next material I'm going to use is the new Fulling Mill CDC. So this is the natural grey colour, but we also have a whole range of different dyed colours. You can buy the 1 gram bag, which is this one, which is a standard size. You still get absolutely tons of flies out of that. But we also do a 3 gram pack, so if you're tying loads of CDC patterns, that's the one to get. But so we're just going to add a little CDC hackle in on this fly. So I just want to try and find a feather roughly the right size. This one here will do. So there's lots of different ways of doing these CDC hackles. Lots of people do this split thread method, which it is effective, but for me it's faffing about. and I much prefer to take the fibres in a clip, cut the fibres off, stick it in a dubbing loop and spin it up. I think it's quicker personally. So I'm just going to use this little clip. There we go. So I just cut away the stalk. So we've just got a load of little CDC fibres in a clip here. So make a dubbing loop. Take a couple of turns around the dubbing loop. Fix on your dubbing twister. And then we drop these fibres up into the dubbing loop there. Okay. There we go. Right, just spin that up. So the point of the CDC hackle is, number one, it gives movement, but number two, it can also slow the sink rate of your fly down, which I fish chalk streams quite a lot, and having your fly sinking slightly slower can quite often be a bit of an advantage. So the more CDC you put in your hackle, the more it will slow the sink rate down. The sparser it is, the quicker your fly will sink. Okay, so we've wound that on. Just tie that off. So we're removing the thread from the dubbing loop there. If any of these CDC fibres are too long, you can just pinch them down, and then I would just add a little tiny touch more of this microflash dubbing. Just enough for a turn. There we go. And then, as per all beaded flies, just a little touch of super glue to the thread. And we whip finish, and then we'll be done. Okay. So that is the Luboš Roza pink tag jig. Super effective grayling fly. It will work all year long, but really come into its own in autumn and winter. Well worth tying some up or buying some and giving them a go.